Namaste. Today we'll be discussing about Vedanta ethics and how it can be applied in the field of media. Vedanta ethics and its moral virtues are rooted in Vedanta philosophy. So before moving further into Vedanta ethics, we first need to understand Vedanta philosophy. In Hindu philosophy, there are 6 major schools of thoughts: Samkhya Yoga, Nyaya Vaisesika, and lastly Mimamsa Vedanta. Vedanta philosophy, being a sub-discipline of Hindu philosophy, has similarities with the main discipline itself. In Hindu philosophy, there are 4 major goals to be achieved, which is also known to be Purushartha Chatustayas. Here, Artha means the material pleasures of life. Kama means the meaning sex as a conjugal necessity. Dharma means the moral or ethical duties, and moksha meaning the ultimate salvation. So the word Vedanta is formed of 2 words, Veda meaning knowledge and Anta meaning the end of or the goal of. So talking about Vedanta philosophy, there are 2 major sub-disciplines of this philosophy, Advaita and Dvaita. Advaita talks about non-dualism, whereas Dvaita talks about duality or dualism. Advaita has a monistic universe where the whole essence of universe is supposed to be Brahman. Whereas Dvaita talks about Atma, self, and the existence of universal essence, which is Brahman again. So when we take an example of a clay pot, Advaita Vedanta emphasizes on the clay itself, as the pot is ultimately made by the clay. But Dvaita emphasizes on both clay and the pot, as they both exist independently. So in the philosophical foundation of Hinduism, there are 3 paths to be followed to achieve moksha. So the 3 paths are said to be Karma Yoga, meaning path of action, Bhakti Yoga, meaning path of devotion, and Jnana Yoga, meaning path of knowledge. Since Jnana Yoga is talked about more in Vedanta philosophy, we will be discussing about this in a more elaborative form. So Jnana Yoga, meaning path of knowledge or self-realization, talks about knowledge of existence of Brahman, Atma, and the realization of their unity. So in Vedanta philosophy, there are 3 major affirmations made by it, which are the oneness of existence, divinity of the soul, and harmony of all creatures. In Vedanta ethics, be it action, be it thought, or speech, whatever takes us closer to our goals is said to be ethical or moral. Here the goals are the 3 affirmations made by the Vedanta philosophy. So to be ethical in Vedanta ethics, we should have clarity in prajna, which means wisdom, vakya meaning speech, and lastly kriya meaning action. So whatever action, wisdom, or thought or speech which takes us away from our goals is said to be unethical or immoral. So the whole concept of Vedanta ethics is based on realization and manifestation of our own innate divinity. The whole Vedanta ethics can be summed up by a simple line of reasoning, which is, does this action, thought, or speech bring me closer to realizing the truth, or does it take me further away? So more on ethical principles of Vedanta ethics, we talk about morality and ego. Ego meaning the sense of I and mine. Unselfishness meaning blessing others before ourselves, doing good to others. And it largely emphasizes on the wrong identification in which we think ourselves as minds and bodies rather than the infinite spirit. In Vedanta, there are yamas, which mean moral principles, and niyamas means obligations which must be followed to be ethical. So focusing on the yama, which are the moral principles, it talks about ahimsa, which is non-violence, satya meaning truth, asteya meaning non-stealing, brahmacharya meaning away from lust, aparigraha meaning non-receiving of gifts. Niyama, as told earlier, are the obligations made by the Vedanta ethics itself, which talks about swacha, self-purification, santosha, which means containment, tapas means self-discipline or austerity, Swadaya meaning self-study, and lastly Ishvara Pranidhara meaning self-surrender to God. So a media personnel or a journalist must follow these niyamas and yamas to be ethical and moral. I hope this video was helpful to you. This was Pinki Sris Rana. Thank you.